what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Good to have you here. So recently I heard about something called cauliflower toast or cauliflower bread, and I actually heard of it from a friend of mine who has been sticking to a low-carb, keto, paleo diet. And I was kind of interested in trying this because not only is it paleo, keto, and low-carb, but it's also gluten-free. And so I was looking up different versions of recipes on this cauliflower toast online, and the main problem I was running into is a lot of different variations of this recipe called for eggs or called for dairy and stuff that's obviously not vegan or plant-based. So I messed around with this recipe a little bit, and I think I finally got a version that I'm really happy with. It's gluten-free because it uses almond flour instead of regular flour. It's low carb, it's keto, it's paleo, it's a lot of things. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and hop into the kitchen and share with you how I made this version of cauliflower toast or cauliflower bread. Okay, so the first thing to make this cauliflower toast, you need some cauliflower, obviously. I'm using one head, and that makes about 6 to 8 slices of toast approximately. So then you'll need some almond or coconut flour. I'm using almond, and I just found this at Trader Joe's. The ingredients in this flour is literally just finely ground up almonds, so there's no gluten or grain, just like regular wheat flour. It's literally just almonds, which is pretty cool. So I found that the biggest challenge with this recipe was making the toast stick together. So you're going to need some ground flax meal, which is going to act as the binding agent, sort of like an egg would in any other recipe. Finally, you're going to need some salt and some Italian seasonings to season up the toast. Okay, to get started, chop off the green leaves on the head of the cauliflower and start chopping that head into smaller chunks to fit into a food processor or a blender with a pulse setting. I just have to mention that I think that my Ninja blender right here is my most used item in the kitchen, and it comes with both a blender pitcher and a food processor pitcher, which I think is pretty dope. I just wanted to mention that because I love this thing. It's probably one of my best kitchen investments I've ever made. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys about that. And once the head of cauliflower is in the food processor or the blender with a pulse setting, just go ahead and pulse it until the cauliflower is broken up into smaller bits, about the size of a pea. If you want to skip this step and you don't like messes, or if you don't have a food processor or a blender, I believe you can buy something called riced cauliflower over at Trader Joe's or really any grocery store, I think. And this will kind of save you a step and you don't have to have a food processor. Anyway, once your cauliflower is pulsed into smaller pieces, dump it into a big mixing bowl. Okay, so now for the almond flour, I used about 1.5 cups, but it really varies on how big of a head of cauliflower you have. Basically, you want enough of the flour to dredge and coat the cauliflower because that's what's going to make this into a dough. So again, I used about 1.5 cups or so, and that seemed to do the trick. And the seasonings are really about personal taste as well. I added in, for myself, roughly about a teaspoon each of salt and Italian seasonings. And then I just stirred that all around the cauliflower until everything was evenly distributed. So to make all the dry ingredients stick together, take your flax meal, which is ground up flax seeds by the way, and add in about 1/2 cup to 1/2 cup of water and stir that really well. This is going to be the bonding agent and make all this stick together. So just pour that flax mixture right in there, and I tried stirring this with a spatula for a little bit, but I found out it was just a lot easier to get in there with my hands. So if you don't mind getting a little messy, just get right in there to knead this dough. Okay, so once that is all mixed up and it looks like dough, lay some parchment paper over a baking sheet, and make sure it's parchment paper, not wax paper. I made that mistake before. And you're gonna press out a little bit of the dough into toast-like squares, about, I'd say 1/2 inch thick. As I'm watching this video and editing it, I'm actually almost wondering how these would have turned out if I had brushed them with a little bit of vegan butter. So if any of you guys make these and want to try that on a couple of the slices, let me know how it turned out because I'm actually kind of curious about it. So after pressing out the dough mixture into a few pieces of toast on a baking sheet, go ahead and turn on the oven to 350 degrees and bake these for about 35 or so minutes. This was my very first attempt making these, so I actually checked on these a few times and I knew they were done when they were browned up and got firm to the touch. Just make sure they're not mushy or soft enough to fall apart, and if you want them even crispier, I think you could actually take these off the rack and put them on like an oven rack and toast them a little bit longer, and I think that they would probably crisp up a little bit more, but these look pretty good to me, so I allowed them to cool off and set a little before carefully removing them with a spatula onto a plate. So these things are so great because they're really so versatile, and here you can see me pluck one up and load it up with some vegan spread and sriracha to try it out. It was successful, but this was my very first attempt trying to make these, so I just wanted to make sure they didn't taste like butthole or anything before recommending this recipe to you guys, and they were good, so no worries. These again are really good because you can put anything you want on them, such as hummus or vegan tzatziki sauce, which I have a recipe for linked down below in the comments if you guys want to check it out. Let's see, avocado, all sorts of veggies. Yeah, really whatever you want. I even fried up some firm tofu and made this into a sandwich with cauliflower bread, and it was really good. So yeah, I tried it a couple different ways and it held up. Alright you guys, hope you like this recipe. Give it a go and let me know how you like it. And don't forget to tag me on Instagram if you do try this recipe, and also subscribe to my channel here on YouTube so you don't miss out on any of my simple, healthy, plant-based recipes, and you'll have seriously made my day. Anyway guys, I gotta go, so I will check you later. Alright, I'll talk to you later. Bye.